So this is the Cb750K 1980 model, double overhead cam, 750cc, drum brake, disc to the front. I've taken off the tank, carbs and the airbox. Tank's over there, seats over there, carbs are here, and airbox is there. If you've done these before, getting the carbs out is an absolute nightmare with the old airbox because there's no room whatsoever. So I've had it running. It was running fine. Had an issue with one of the carbs, this one. She was leaking, the float wasn't sealing. So I've ordered a rebuild kit and I'm stripping it prior to the rebuild kit coming. If you don't know anything about how to get the tank off, how to get the seat off, how to get the carbs out, then stripping and cleaning carbs might be a bit over the top for you. I'm not trained in any way, shape or form. I like to tinker, I'm good with my hands, and I've done a lot of watching on YouTube. So I managed to get everything out. Easy job, but just a pain in the ass because you've got to put it in the right order. So move the airbox back, heat up the rubber seals here with an hot air gun, undo the carbs, undo all the throttle cables and the clutch cables, and then pull it all out. So the carbs, okay, 4 carbs, pronounce this right, Kian carbs or Kine carbs or something like that. Meant to be really good carbs. They're not bad nick, and as I said, I've had them running on a bike, and it's not been an issue apart from this carb which was leaking. So if you don't know about carbs, you have a drain here which is the floats. So these would sit on the bike, like so. That's the fuel, where the fuel goes in from the tank. That goes into the engine, and this comes air. So air sucked in here, sucked through the carbs, fuel's mixed in and pumped out into the engine. Get your spark, get your bang, job done. So the floats sit upside down, and basically, sort of like that, they allow fuel into the float well, so you can get the right amount of fuel going. If it overfills, then it'll drain from here and pour out of here. But what happens is, this float is normally hanging down. As the fuel enters, it rises until a plunger stops the fuel coming in. For some reason this one isn't working too great and it's overfilling, getting to that drain there, pouring in then and coming out the bottom. And as you can see on the bike's been doing it for a while, because all of sort of like this is where it's been leaking. So I've got a rebuild coming for that. This is the idle screw, and as these screws are on the engine side, these are the fuel mixture screws. Now these, for the Cb750K, are set to 1.5 turns from fully in. That's your base. Then when you're on setting it all up, you move them in and out. Again, all this I've learnt on YouTube. This is your idle screw, and again, you should just have it so it's touching or just off the bottom. So I'll dismantle the rest of the floats for you, but before I do that, I'll talk about the insides. So obviously this is where the fuel comes through, and this is where your float plunges up and down. You got your main jet, your pilot jet, a redundant jet, which this plastic goes in. and then your fuel mixture screw. And that's simply it. Your jet sizes, these are your jets. So there's 2 jets. They should be the jet sizes on there. Right, you can see on there, that's 102. So that's your main jet. And that's 68. It's like your idle jet, your pilot jet. Okay, because I'm not putting the airbox on this again, I've got cones to go on it. I'm going to be increasing the air. So if I'm increasing the air, I increase the fuel. So I've also ordered bigger jets. Now there's a guy called the Motorcycle MD who knows everything and anything about carbs. So I watch his videos quite a lot, so big shout out to him. And he reckons you should go 25 over on your carbs for your main jet if you put in aftermarket cones on. So that's what I've gone a 25 over, so I should have roughly 125 is the main set jet size. It's between 15 and 25. What that will allow it is to give you more fuel. So 3 Allen screws come off, float well lifts up. Oh, straight away you can see that it needs seal, it all needs cleaning. And then we got float, main jet, pilot jet, redundant jet. It just lifts off. It's worthwhile keeping everything really organised. Everything unscrews, brass, so be really careful with them, you don't want to damage them. That carb, and onto the last carb. So 3 screws out, the bowl, main jet, carbs are one of those things that I really didn't know a lot about, and you know, I obviously knew there was a choke on them, and you pulled the chokes, and it was an old thing. But the more and more I looked into it, the more and more I got sort of like fascinated with how it mechanically meters all the air and the fuel going into the bike. So that's the plunger that sits in there that the float sits on, and it's got a rubber tip, and the rubber tips perish after a while and obviously don't help with the seal. So last but not least is the seat for the because all this will be thoroughly cleaned. So that's just a seat for the main jet.
I just raced the cater on back.
So all the 4 carbs dismantled. Don't need to do these at the top because I cleaned those last time. They're all working fine. I'll let this all drain down. It's a fuel filter. I'm not going to take that off yet because I have to heat the piping up and I don't want to explode. But yeah, so they're the four bottom of the carbs that need cleaning. Rebuild it all back up, clean it. These are where the idle jet holes are. Don't know if you can see that, but in there is the idle jet holes. And yeah, well, you can just see the tips of the jets in there. Not the jets, but the bits that the jet goes into the jets that meters the flow. And you can see where the old petrol is tarnished, so all that needs cleaning off. These are press, so if these are damaged, not much you can do about that. I have to get new ones. Carbs, I don't even think you can get any anymore. but they can be cleaned out with a bit of ear wax. I think you have to undo the choke side of things. Let me have a look at my manual, which I got with the bike, which I think is essential. Let's have a look. Fuel, carbs, yep. Remove throat plate from one carburetor. So I'll hold that and remove this throat plate. And again, I want to make sure I keep them well ordered. Float plate removed, screws gone in there. Turn it over, screws come out. These old are really good. Oh, so they're split. The state of them, and that's the, so it just needs to be slightly backed off. I'm thinking separate the carburetors at the centre. Okay, so I should have done this one. Again, I'll put these all in bags and label them. So let's have a look. If it says carb 1, carb 2, so no, there should be something on here, say which carb they belong to. Oh well. So a bit of difficulty splitting this carb up. Oh, there you go. So that's from the back side. Let's pull that straight out. So I can drop that straight in the cleaner, get that cleaned. So that's carb 1. Carb 2. I put them upside down like that. Carb 1, carb 2. Right. I'm videoing stripping these carbs. What?
You're not going to put your car on the drive?
I will do. Where's yours?
Mine's
Alright, no probs. So just that one is giving me a little bit of jip again. Just making sure I'm using the right screwdriver because I don't want is to round any of these off. So I know that is number 4. So let's get some bags. Kept those little bags just in case. So This was number 2. Right on here. 2. This is number 1. 1. Number 3, and they can only go a certain way, so this is spring between 1 and 2. So right on here, 1 plus 2. So that little spring there. There you go. So that little spring there is my routine 3. I'll wrap that up and put it in there. So I'll put tools away so I know what I'm doing. So, carb 1, carb 2. Got to be careful of this little bit here because I don't want to release the spring tension of any of this, or else I think there will be a nightmare to put back together. So I'll leave that as it is. Leave all that as it is. I can ditch the plastic hose there. Leave that on there. That'll fit. And that'll fit in there. And then I'll disassemble the rest before she goes in the bath. Although I'm 100% happy that these are all cleaned. Not ultrasonically, but these were cleaned. You can see all the little bits that hopefully the ultrasonic will go. You can see the needle and the gasket. So hopefully you clean all of this up. Here are the pods which will go on the air side, on that side, instead of the air box. Look pretty cool. 4 of them. And those are the 3 I need to replace. Ones that are okay, they're all okay. That's the rebuild kit I just laid out just to check it. That's the old float that was leaking. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4.